Good morning, everybody. It's another beautiful day at the farm today. A very cold one, I might add. It got down to about 31 degrees last night. We had frost on the cars, but that's not gonna stop us from getting some stuff done. I'm really excited. So in today's episode, we are gonna be planting some trees. I am super excited about that because it is fall, and fall brings probably one of my favorite times to plant trees. Now, a lot of you, when you're thinking about planting trees, you think in the spring. And the reason why, I think, is because most nurseries stock trees in the spring because it's kind of getting ready for the gardening season. But that doesn't mean it's the best time to plant trees. The best time to plant trees is actually in the fall. And here on our 40-acre orchard, we're going to be planting approximately about 1,000 trees this fall, even into early winter. And I think it's a common misconception simply because we think of a tree as needing a good start or a good establishment. But the best time to actually get established is in the fall because it's not doing much growing. It's going to simply sit there. It's going to work on growing the root system when the soil is at or above freezing. And it's going to work on that root system, get established. The soil is going to settle around the roots, reducing those air pockets. And then when it comes out of dormancy in the spring, it's going to basically say, it's like nothing happened at all, because all these trees are basically dormant. They are not growing. They're not producing new leaves. They are basically focused on going to sleep for the winter, storing the energy down in the roots. And so it's a perfect time to plant trees. Really, any perennial would be great. If you're moving some bulbs, if you're moving some perennials like lavender or raspberries, blackberries, or even trees, consider planting it in the fall. So we're gonna get started here. I'm gonna get the tractor and we're gonna get going. It's really exciting. Let's go. So we got the tractor all pulled up and we're ready to rock here, making our rows. I thought I'd kind of show you how we do this because a lot of you asked how we keep our rows so straight. There was a couple videos ago, I don't remember when we did an aerial shot, but the aerial shot just showed how even the rows were. And a lot of you asked how we did that. And so I'll show you because it's actually pretty simple. So what we do is we want our rows to be spaced out 20 feet apart. And our trees are spaced out 16 feet apart. And so when we make our row, we basically started way over there. It's super important. If you start straight, you're gonna end straight. So we started way over there with a 90 degree. And basically once we had 90 degrees, everything was justified exactly north-south, the way that the property is oriented. So we start way over there. And then once we got our rows, every row after that, we just need to make sure we do the same process. So we got our square, and then Jen, if you want to hold this, I'll kind of show what we did. So, we basically go from the center of the row, where the tree is going to be planted, and we pull this out 20 feet. We pull it out 20 feet, just like this. We hammer in the post, and then we go down and we do the same thing on the other side. We go down 20 feet down to the very center of the row. And so this gives us 20 feet and 20 feet. That means, here, how good this one's at 20 feet. So we already did this one already, but that's what we do every single time. And that makes sure that if we're 20 feet off there or 20 feet off here, that's the beginning of the row and the end of the row. It is a really common mistake to just do 20 feet and then just start making your row. Because the problem is you'll get off-centered or you'll get skewed very quickly. Ask me how I know. Don't look at the first couple blocks we did. They're really bad. They're really bad, right, Jen? I mean, it's bad. So we found out quickly that we had to do 20 feet and 20 feet. And that gives us our starting and our end. And then to get our straight line, because it's really hard to line up with just 2 points. 2 points, there's really no way to justify a straight line with 2 points. So what you need is a third point. And that's where we use our shovels as our line of sight. Almost like you're looking down. If you ever lined up a gun, you've kind of lined up the sights on a gun, you'll know that kind of gives you your line that you're targeting, right? So we use shovels to mark every point in between. So we're gonna do this now because we haven't done this yet. So Jen, if you get that first one, a little more, just a tiny bit. Oop, come back just a tiny bit. Go this way, a little bit more. Come back just a hair. Perfect. Oh, actually, sorry, totally disregard. Bring it back just a little bit more. When you put the shovel in it, there you go. That's perfect. Perfect, yep. So we got our 3 shovels here for our line of sight. That makes sure that our line is nice and straight. Since it's 20 feet and 20 feet, we know that every shovel in between will also be 20 feet across, meaning we have a nice straight line. And that is how we keep everything super straight. Let's get tilling. You guys, it's so cold. My hands hurt. They're so cold. But that's for 1 row down, nice and straight. As you can see, it looks great. The soil looks absolutely incredible. We did just get some rain, so it's a little bit muddy. So it's a tad bit darker than it would be if it was totally dry. But honestly, the soil quality is just phenomenal. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It is so loamy, slight sandy texture. Trees just, they eat that up. That's their favorite growing conditions to be in. So we got 1 row done, and we need about 15 more to go to finish off the trailer of trees that we brought. And so we got to get started because we got a long day ahead of us. So we just got a bunch of rows done, and now it's time to plant. And it's a pretty simple process. You know, once we get our rows all square, the next thing is we are spacing our trees 16 feet apart. That's 16 feet on one side, 16 feet on the other side. And that means that once they get fully mature, because a lot of you have asked, why are you spacing your trees out so far? It's because the style of tree that we're planting is a semi-dwarf. A lot of conventional orchards nowadays, they are actually growing more of like a dwarf style tree that tops out around 8 to 10 feet tall. They keep it really aggressively pruned, and they actually run them along guide wires. We're going with more of an older style of orchard technique. Now, really old would be considered conventional rootstock. Those get 30 to 35 feet tall. So you got to space those trees 25 to 30 feet apart. With our trees, they're topping out around 12 to 15 feet tall, and they're only getting about 12 to 15 feet in circumference, right? So your diameter, I should say. So you want about 7 feet on either side, 7 and 7. We'll get about a foot in between because we don't want the trees to be crushing into each other. And because of that, that gives us our 16 feet, if you have 15, 16 feet in between our trees. So it's kind of it's a newer old method of planting trees. And we've got here our grafted trees. Now these trees we grafted up in April of this year, and they look awesome. All these trees we grafted up, like I said, they are going dormant Some of them are changing color, they're dropping leaves. This one here is known as 18th green. It's beautiful, absolutely stunning. And we got them all grafted up here. The grafts look great. So the grafting style that we chose here was known as a whip and tongue, and it gives you that Z shape. And the rootstock we went with was a M111 rootstock. That's just a semi-dwarf rootstock. It's very hardy, produces really early. And then coming up here, this is the scion wood, and you'll notice where we had the cut. That cut is actually where we clipped this little stem. This is what we attached onto the rootstock. That was as much wood as we used. And there was a bud that never took, a bud that never took, and then one that did, and that's what grew. That's what grew this whole tree here. That's what grew this whole. This is all 1 year growth. It's so cool to see. So we got a great shape, and we got about 100. And on this trailer here, we have, what'd you say, John? 128? Yeah. So we got about 128 per trailer load. And in this whole side of the orchard, we're going to have a little bit over 1,000 trees planted. It's going to be really super cool. I think we're going to have probably about 1,200 trees planted once it's all said and done. So we're hoping for 4 rows of 300. That's kind of the goal for what we're going to need to get to fit all these trees in. But pretty sweet. Now, one last thing. We're only planting 2 of each variety. We grafted up a bunch. And so in the spring, we're going to have a spring plant sale. Stay tuned for that. We're going to be selling off the extras from the orchard. And that's going to be a really fun opportunity. Super limited stock, but we're going to be doing that in the spring. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But we're only planting 2 of each variety. That way, if something happens to one, we have a backup. We can always take cuttings from and continue to grow them. But it also allows us to fit more varieties in our orchard since it's a preservation orchard. So with that, let's get going. So all we're doing is we're basically doing the same thing we did when we did our rows here. All we're doing is we're looking down the row this way, making sure they're all in a nice straight line, just like you were lining up the sights on a gun. And then we're coming back down here and doing the same thing, lining them up. Because we know, since we started at 16 feet, once we got about 7 or 8 rows, that gave us such a good clear sight to go down. And since everything is all square, we basically just keep it all in a nice line, just like that. Super simple. We don't have to measure anything out. And that's actually saved us a ton of time when it comes to planting. And then we basically plant the dead center of the row. We don't need to worry about anything being out of line that way, because as long as we pick the very dead center, it's going to be dead center this way. All the trees are in a row. All the trees are in a row. All the blocks are in a row. And it makes my heart so happy. Makes my heart so happy. And it's also efficient. We get, the thing is, I think it's okay if you're at home, it's okay to have stuff a little bit random. That's fine. That's the spice of life. But here on the farm, we're trying to get as many trees in as small of an area as possible, because we also want to leave room for seed blocks to save seeds for the seed shop. We want room for a pumpkin patch. We want room for a wildflower patch. We want room for a blueberry patch, a vineyard. We want room for all those things. And if we want to have our all of our bucket list items accomplished, we got to be really efficient with space. The best thing about all these small pots is the hole doesn't have to be that large. That's one of the real nice things about planting these young grafted trees versus some of the larger trees we got from nurseries around the country. You get a big pot or you get a big root system, you got to dig a big hole. So the soil is amazing, looks super nice. And when we plant these trees, we're going to plant them slightly above. We're going to plant them slightly above the original soil level, so it kind of tapers down a little bit. It's going to give us a good taper that prevents water from nestling near the roots. There we go. This variety is called Blanquiana. Look at them roots, beautiful. Raise it up a little bit. So there we go. We're gonna move down the row, keep planting them out. Then finally comes to mulch. So we aren't mulching today, but as you see all the other mulch that we've laid down, we have a mulch spreader that basically we load up with mulch with a tractor, come down here, spreads it for us, and then we put down a nice thick, probably 4 to 6 inch layer of mulch that then compresses and breaks down, turns into beautiful soil, suppresses weeds, holds moisture near the soil, and it also helps to prevent weeds from going crazy in the rows, helps keep our rows nice and neat as well. So it's pretty simple to do, but we're not going to do the mulching today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully y'all learned something new. I am freezing. I'm going to go warm up. I'm going to go grab some lunch and get out of this cold wind. So I hope you guys are having an awesome time in your gardens, wherever you're at, or if your gardens are done for the season, hopefully you're just beginning the dreaming and the planting phase. But yeah, let me know in the comments box down below if you are planting any trees in the fall, which trees you're planting. I would love to know. And also let me know if you are if you're excited about this orchard and maybe some other content you'd like to see around the orchard. As always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to like this video if you did enjoy, share it with a friend if you think they'd enjoy it, because I'd appreciate that. And as always, grow bigger. Take care. Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care.